And we're
What's
live.
going on, guys? It's Dylan and Ray here today. And today, what we wanted to talk to you guys about was the topic is attitude, both having a good one and then how to have a good one. So, I don't know, Ray, you want to kick it off?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, guys, for being with us again. We're back for another awesome episode of some really useful information to help you live your life the legendary way. So, that's all what we want to do. What we're about is living a legendary life, a life of purpose, a life of meaning, and serving others as best we can in the process. So, yeah, attitude. Um, it's something that's been coming up recently, and I think it's like so vitally important for us to understand what attitude is. And we all have an idea of what attitude is, but if you walk down the street and asked somebody what the definition of attitude was or what is attitude, they might like pause for a moment and then give you an answer, and 100 people probably wouldn't give you the same answer. They'd probably give you 100 different ones.
Yeah.
So what I've learned as attitude, and this makes a lot of sense, but what it really is the composite of our thoughts, feelings, and actions. And if you think about that for a moment, like your thoughts, your feelings, and actions all coming together, it's like a cake. It's like, so when you have a piece of cake, you don't say, wow, that's like really good flour and great spice. You
Mhm.
say, that's a really good cake. So it's like the ingredients are thoughts, feelings, actions, and mixed together um, and baked, you get a cake, an attitude cake.
Yeah.
Yep. Have a piece of that.
Mhm.
So
Uh,
anyway, yeah. But that's what it is. You put all these things together, you get your attitude. And it is said, um, I believe Napoleon Hill had a quote, possibly was him, that attitude is the single most important thing that a person can have, something to that effect. Yeah, because attitude is like, if I approach you with a bad attitude, there's a good chance I'm not going to get a good response from you or whoever it is. So, like when we're talking to people, do we have excitement? Are we happy? Are we just like, kind of dragging ourselves through this conversation? What's our attitude like? Because it's going to greatly determine our results in life. And yeah, that's really what this is about, and just kind of learning how to, like, what attitude is, and then how to have a good, like, what's a good attitude. So what's
yeah.
your take on a good attitude?
Yeah, I think it's cool because the thing about an attitude is when you think about it, especially the definition you gave, it's kind of like your mindset and your character, kind of gelling together. As you said, it's what your thoughts, your words, your actions, and beliefs, and all that stuff. So a lot of that ties with your mindset, of course, and your actions, your words and stuff. A lot of that reflects your character, type of person you are. So the thing with that is it says a lot about you, your attitude. That's why people look at that a lot, is because it's kind of like the two meeting together. It's like a fine gel of both. So I mean, of course, I'm sure a lot of people figure, like, for a good attitude, you have to have a good mindset. You got to be in the right state of mind and a good place mentally. But also, I think a lot of it says about, your character, the type of person you are. And
Yeah,
like, I guess your values, your morals, that kind of stuff, I guess you could kind of say. Yeah, those are the things that make up character. Am I right? So,
yeah, yeah,
so it's also, I don't think a lot, I don't know, maybe you would think that, but I think a lot of people would miss that part, is that your attitude is made up a lot of your character too, not just what's going on up here. So I think that's important too, to make sure, obviously, not that just your mind is in check, but your character is in check too.
yeah, yeah, definitely. And another good point I was thinking about, the attitude is, um it's like how you identify with yourself too comes into play. Like your self identification, your self image,
Hmm.
has a big, so like, if I think really poorly of myself, my attitude in general is going to reflect that in my daily dealings. But if I have likewise, if I have a really good attitude, it's going to reflect that in my daily dealings, but my results are going to vary dramatically, um,
Hmm.
in pretty much every case. So sometimes in life we're not getting the results we want, maybe all the time. Maybe some people have never gotten the result they want and they just don't know why. But so if we can like check our reactions to what's going on around us, and this is like attitude, because again, it's thoughts, feelings, and actions. So if I have a reaction to something, well, that's an action, that's part of my attitude. But what am I thinking about that thing? Like, am I thinking of it in a negative or angry or upset state? Because that's causing those feelings. The thoughts are causing the feelings, and the feelings are causing the actions. Because I'm moving based on how I'm feeling about it. And yeah, so that's it. Really is mindset. It really is.
Yeah, it sounds like what it boils down to is that it's choosing to be an optimist over a pessimist is what it is. Because I mean, it's not even just a self-image, even though that's obviously the most important thing, but it's also like your world image too, how you
Yeah.
view everything else around you, not just yourself. So it's choosing to see the good, the brighter side in every situation in yourself, as opposed to the bad side.
Yeah.
It's easy to focus on the bad and get wrapped up in that, but it takes a really good attitude
Mhm.
to be an optimist and look at the brighter side of things, because it really boils down to how you choose to look at everything. That's all it is. I mean, I see those kind of quotes all the time, but I mean, you think about it, that's the truth. It's just like I said, so easy to get wrapped up in the bad, and that just drags you down like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it's hard to be, optimistic and positive. It can be at times, like you said. There's a lot of times where stuff doesn't go your way.
Mm.
It seems like you can't catch a break, and sometimes it seems like there's days where a big giant rain cloud's following you around over your head. But
Mm.
I mean, we all have that. It happens. But I think, I mean, if you have a good attitude, you're always going to be okay. Because even when the stuff is bad, you know,
You
you,
look at it in the best
Mhm.
light possible.
even that, and even it's like I said, seeing the good in every situation, you see that not as something that's meant to break you, but something that strengthens you, something that's meant to happen. It's for your benefit. You can take the bad in any situation, easily turn into a good if you're willing to, and if you have that type of attitude and mindset. It's so easy to look at something once your attitude is in check and where it needs to be, to look at something that's bad and figure out a way to use it to your advantage, looking
Yeah.
at it in a positive light for how, how can this strengthen me? How can this make me better? How can it help me in this way or that way? How's this going to help me in the long run? Or you can look at it and think of it from a long-term perspective. Something bad's happening now. What's that going to mean for me in the long run?
Hmm. Yeah. What is it? Every adversity carries with it an equal or greater good. So
Mhm.
it's just how and I heard Jim Carrey, the actor, he said this in his one speech. He was giving a commencement speech at a graduation. Maybe it's a very popular video. Anyway, he said that he he chooses to believe that everything is working for him, and I've really tried to adopt that attitude myself.
Mhm.
Excuse me, because if I choose to believe that everything is working for me, so let's say I have a goal and I have a plan of achieving that goal, or at least to get me started on it. We want to always know how, like how are we going to do this? You need this, you need that, you need money, you need people, you need resources. But in all reality, the how doesn't matter. We don't need to know how. We just have a goal. That has to be clearly defined, and we need to be open to the path to get there. Just because we have a plan, I mean, honestly, like looking back on your lives and your life and my life, how many times did something go exactly as we planned it to? I mean, really, if you really think about it, probably not very many.
It's very rare.
Right. So we need to be open to how it's going to work out. So it's great to have a plan. Yes. I'm not
You
saying
got to be
that.
willing to adjust.
Yes. And so when those things happen that seem to throw us off, or like it's not going the way we want to, we don't think it's going forward. We think we're being held back from some external force. Really, we can choose to say, no, this is just the way of getting there.
Yeah, it's for your own, it's for your
Yeah,
own good.
right. Like I believe it's all trying to push us towards our
Yeah, that
purpose.
part of your plan isn't just isn't meant to be.
Right. If you're in
And
a relationship and it's like fizzling out and you're trying to hold on to it and you want to let it get like it's everything's telling you need to let go of that because it's supposed to be bettering you, you know? So there's so many examples of that.
yeah, because even the stuff that's bad is always working for you, like you said. Especially those of you that are deep in your faith, and if you're in touch with God and all that, you know that nothing's ever working against you. Everything's always for you. Even the stuff that again is bad. I always make sure to put the quotes around bad because if you're in touch with your faith life, you know that nothing's ever bad. It's always working for you.
Right.
You don't understand what's happening at that moment in time, but soon enough in time you will, because you know that it's always for your own good. And the testing of your faith produces perseverance. So again, all that stuff that's bad, you know
Yeah.
it's not actually bad. It's always for your own good. And in the long run, that stuff that's bad even works out better for you than the stuff that was good.
Yeah. Sometimes those like bad things are the best things that ever happened to us. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
exactly. Because it provides you with the extra skills, the extra toughness, the
The
better
grit.
mindset, the better
Yes.
attitude, more gratitude when stuff does go right on the
Yeah.
first try.
Yeah.
So I mean, you think of it in a bad way, but you got like that's what I was talking about when I said before, thinking about long term. You think, I mean, maybe it looks bad on paper right now at this moment in time, but in the long run, what does it actually mean for me? What's it going to get me? And like I would argue the bad does a lot more for you over time than the good stuff does.
Yeah. Like fail forward, you know, like it's so there's not much difference between like the successful people there is, but there isn't between the very successful people and the very unsuccessful. They're just they're still people just like us. We all have, you know, a heart, a stomach, skin, bone.
Yeah.
Like we're all people. We have brains, you know. It's just the choices and decisions and the way people think about things is what differs. And it's so it's like people's behaviors may vary greatly, but their natures are exactly the same, you know?
Mhm.
And so it's just a matter of looking at things differently. It really is. And and you see, like we're trying to cultivate momentum here, you know, so that you can take with you in your life and utilize and kind of look at some things differently. Something that's been coming up a lot recently, I've been saying to people is if you want something you never had, you have to do something you've never done. Just think about that. So if we're here, we're at point A, and we want to be at point B, but we've never been there. I mean, if we have been, we probably wouldn't want that, right? So we've never been there. We don't know how to get there. We might not even know what that really looks like yet. But okay, that's great, but it's how you choose to view and think about your life and the things going on is going to like carry you there. If that makes sense. I hope I didn't lose anybody on that,
Yeah,
but
you lost me a little bit.
sorry.
No, I'm kidding. You're good. No, but I mean that's right. Like if you want something you never had before, you got to do stuff you never did. I
It's
mean,
gonna be new. It's
yeah.
gonna be all new. That's the point.
I mean that's like counter the textbook definition of insanity. Like you do the same stuff over and over again, expect a different result. It doesn't work that way. You got to do stuff you never done before.
Yes, and it becomes habitual. That's why I just had a friend talking to me this morning about an organization he works with. And for like the past, I don't know, 15 years or so, they've been doing things, maybe even longer, they've been doing things the same way, and they're trying to get this result. And they're like, this works. We just need to try it one more time. And it's like, it doesn't work. It's a broken, what maybe it worked one time 15 years ago, and
Yeah.
you try to repeat it and it just didn't work again. I mean, you should have moved on the second or third time you tried it, but no.
You can't be stubborn.
Right.
You
You
gotta
can let it holding on to something that doesn't work because
adjust and change with the times.
right.
Yeah.
And this is all, I mean, you can see how important attitude is here. And if you don't see, well, like, so what happens if during this process of getting to this goal, like give us an example, like what would it be like with a good attitude and what would it be like with a bad attitude? I'm asking like, so if you approach the situation with a bad attitude, what's the likely, what would that play out like?
What about one to use that technique that doesn't work?
Yes.
Yeah, if you have a bad attitude, you're going to be stubborn. You don't. What it boils down to is you got to be open minded. That's
Yeah.
that's part of having a good attitude. You got to be open minded. Got to be willing to adjust with the times and roll. Like it's good to have a plan, but you can't like be too. What's the word I'm looking for? You can't be too tied up on it. You can't be. Yeah, you can't
Yes.
be too attached to it. You can't be too clingy. You got to be willing to be open minded because
Yeah.
you want to make God laugh, show him your plans.
Yeah.
Because stuff's not going to go that way.
Yeah.
I mean, some stuff will, but then half the other stuff won't. Maybe a lot of times, more than half the stuff's not going to go your way. You go these different detour ways. So it's good to have the plan. It's good to have those ideas. But
Yeah.
I
You
mean,
have to have a direction.
and I don't think there's anything wrong with trying stuff, a second or a third time. It's like
After 50 or 12 or 20 or 100. Yeah.
Yeah. I would probably cut off after like 5 or more tries, if stuff keeps
Yeah.
failing, not working, maybe it's time to adjust, you
Right.
know.
Time to adjust.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with being persistent and perseverance because you obviously have to have those things too. That's part of a good attitude, but it's more important to put the ego aside and be smart and logical and open-minded, willing to adjust with the times. When you see stuff's not working or stuff doesn't go your way, not to get upset, but instead be open-minded, see it as an opportunity to learn, to grow, do better, try something new, and then do
Yeah.
just that. Try that something new.
I got a really good current example of this that I just saw today, and it made me think about that. Thinking, so Einstein said you cannot solve a problem with the same mindset that it was created in, essentially, is what he said. So that means, okay, I'm here in my current state. I have this problem that I somehow created in my life. So now I need to like change my perspective, completely change it to something different in order to like view this problem in a different way to help me solve it. And one like real life example, I just saw this. So I'm sure everybody knows the CEO of Tesla Motors, Elon Musk. Okay, so they're developing new ways to make car chassis, right? So before it would take, I don't know, a couple hours maybe to make a car chassis, maybe longer. And there was a lot of steps involved in making over 100 pieces to put together to make a chassis of a car. So they've been working with another company and they've developed these tools called gigapresses. And they're huge presses. They're 20 meters long, 7 meters tall, and 6 meters wide. So the presses come together this way. Molten metal goes into them and they come together and it forms the chassis with this immense force, and it opens up, and now they can do it in 3 parts instead of 100 parts. They have these big like it's a die casting machine essentially. And so now they can make like 350,000 of these in like a day, in like a year. I think I'm not a day, a year. So it takes them 1 minute, approximately 1 minute, to make the chassis of a car now. And they're investing a lot of money in multiple presses. And I just thought, wow, now that, imagine, so you have this problem. I have 100 pieces to make this chassis with. How can I dramatically simplify this to take it down to a minute? And the logical mind would say that's impossible because we're looking at it from our current understanding. And so somebody had to dream up of this and really think outside the box, really a whole nother approach, a whole completely different perspective on manufacturing a car chassis. And so I was like, wow, that's really innovative, because sometimes we're faced with these big problems and it's like, I can't possibly make this better. It's all, it's already to this level. How, so shifting that whole perspective, I just thought, wow, that's pretty cool.
Beliefs.
Yeah. But someone had to really think differently. If not, they wouldn't have that.
I mean, what do they say? If you can imagine it, you can do it. It's not impossible.
That's right.
So,
and the payoff is much cheaper manufacturing prices, which means a more affordable car, not cheaper in quality, but more affordable for the consumer. So
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, that's a huge impact. It's a
Yeah.
huge impact. Yeah. Thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, everything Elon Musk is doing is pretty cool. I
Yeah.
gotta say, he's.
Yeah. That's a whole nother episode.
Mhm. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That dude's mind is something else.
It really is. It really is.
Innovation, the Mars, pun intended.
I know. Yeah. So how about I just entered in this contest that what's his name? Russell Branson.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the owner of Virgin Records and all that. He's like billionaire guy. He's working on these shuttles, like flights to space, but commercialized flights to space.
Hmm.
And they have this drawing with this other company that basically you can win a trip to the rocket facility, and you'll get a tour from him, like a VIP tour, and 2 tickets to go into orbit in space on a rocket. And I was like, wow, man, that sounds really cool. So I entered. I mean, will I win? Who knows? Who
Yeah.
knows? But I thought,
Give it a try.
imagine if like I was just on a fluke out, yeah, I probably won't win. Who knows? And on a fluke and then
Mhm.
win it, and then that'd be like, I'm going to space.
I mean, yeah, if they do another 10-minute tour of space again, like what's his name just did, Jeff Bezos.
Yeah,
enter for that
yeah,
one.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, that's funny you're saying that too, because like we sent people to space multiple times, to the moon, now to Mars. We can do all this stuff. Like it's definitely possible to simplify a means of production. You know what I mean?
right.
We were able to do that.
Yep,
I mean, I don't not a whole too much else is impossible.
right.
There's some stuff that is impossible, but not too whole much else. We're able to send other people and other things to the moon, into space, the Mars.
Into orbit. It's amazing. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
building colonies on other planets.
Those guys definitely don't have poor attitudes.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can't take on an endeavor like that with a bad attitude.
Yeah,
Oh
exactly.
man, you have to have an attitude of steel. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, what's it called? Rolling with the punches too,
Yep.
with the changes,
Yep.
and not getting upset by stuff not going your way.
Right.
We should have those guys as guests on here talking about that.
Yeah. Really should. Who would you like to see as a guest on our show? We would gladly take suggestions.
Hmm.
Yep. Elon Musk.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Elon, come over to my
Yeah.
house.
I was talking to him the other day.
Yeah, we were
He's-
just talking about
Yeah,
it.
he said he'll try to clear a schedule in October. So
2025.
yeah, yeah. So I'll stay on him about it. Don't worry.
Yeah, yeah, we'll get him.
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah, but I mean, I think we hit pretty much everything. I mean,
yeah, guys.
I can't really think of anything else between everything we said. I think that we touched on everything.
Yeah, I think we did too. So
I mean, what about you guys? What do you do to have good attitudes? If it was something that we didn't mention that you personally do, or that you think we should have mentioned, what do you think? We'd like to hear from you guys too. So down in the comments, let us know.
yeah, definitely. We look forward to hearing from you guys. We really hope you got something good out of this today. We hope we've added some value to your life, and some tools that you can take with you and use in your life, like real time, right now. So thanks, guys, for being here. Another episode of the Legendary Living Podcast, and we'll see you next time.
Stay legendary.